So we just got a big update on the new distribution centers coming in 3.23. Todd Pappy, the director of the live environment for Star Citizen, has left CIG, putting base building in 2024 somewhat in question. Citizencon has been announced in Manchester, and there's a cool new Idris event going on right now where you can actually win a super rare Idris M, a gigantic military variant of a capital ship that was only offered for a limited time some years ago. So in a moment I'll break it down and tell you what it all means, right after I tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Incogni. You probably already know that whenever you do something online, there's a huge number of companies that collect your information, stuff like your address, social security number, your employment history, etc. But what you might not know is that they buy, sell, and trade that info. Some of those companies use that information to do things like adjust your credit score, and others for more nefarious purposes. And worst of all, if any of those companies get hacked, which can happen quite frequently, your identity could be at risk, which is very likely what happened to me a couple years ago when my identity was stolen. That's where Incogni can help. There are laws that allow you to force those companies to delete your data, and Incogni knows exactly how to use them. Their service automatically reaches out and applies the appropriate law and language to get them to remove the information. I just signed up and found out that there were over 90 companies with my personal information, so no wonder I keep getting invited to join annoying scam investor groups. So if you want to be just a bit more sure that your personal information isn't getting into the wrong hands, or if maybe you just want to stop a few of those annoying spam emails, you can get your personal data off the internet today with Incogni. Just head on over to incogni.com/morphologist and use my code Morphologist to get 60% off an Incogni purchase. And don't worry, if you don't like it, you can always take advantage of their 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, that's incogni.com/morphologist and use code Morphologist to get 60% off your order. So the new distribution centers coming in 3.23 promise to bring a lot more gameplay space for us to experience in the verse. There are going to be around 13 between Microtech and Hurston, the major planets in the system, which is quite a few more than I expected for the first introduction, where they've typically only introduced a handful of the first iteration of something just to test it. So this is a really refreshing look at an expanded introduction of a new location, or rather a location type. And on that point, the locations are going to look more or less the same when it comes to the tower, but their outlying areas surrounding the distribution centers will be varied depending on the owning faction or organization. The developers also explained that they look to place these locations in geographically unique locations on the planets to give them a little bit more visual identity, which I also think is a great thought. For now though, they're only going to be on planets and not on moons. They do want to put them on moons, but right now there's an issue with them figuring out how to deal with the loading and unloading mechanics that really are only meant to work in the low gravity environments for the centers for right now. They also updated us on the state of what we can expect to see when they come into the next patch. Basically, they've got 3 different archetypes right now: friendly, mixed, and hostile. The friendly versions will be welcoming and open to players as long as they have a neutral reputation with the owning faction, and this ties into the reputation system becoming more important in the next patch, which will determine who you're allowed to interact with before they become hostile. So these locations will have no restrictions and you can go pretty much anywhere you please. These locations may also even be more like rest stops with green zones, or in other words, areas where you can't use your weapons, and this seems to be more of a temporary stopgap in order to prevent people from griefing the cargo loading areas, which include the new cargo lifts also coming in 3.23. A big question mark about whether or not this is going to work in areas where there are no safe zones. There's going to be a lot of griefing, to be sure, in some of these locations, but they're aware of this, and this is just something we're going to have to deal with in the first release. The mixed versions of these will be a combination of friendly and hostile, where you're going to have some locations which are enabled for you to visit, where others will be more restricted, and then the hostile versions will be hostile to you regardless of your security level. So it won't welcome players, and you pretty much can only get in there by being unlawful, or if it's owned by an unlawful faction, well, just being a good guy and going in there and shooting everybody up. And to that end, these locations are going to be heavily defended. They're going to have a lot of NPCs and turrets, including missile turrets, in this release, so expect to have a major fight on your hands should you try to engage this one straight on. One of the things that's becoming more clear though from this recent post is that the missions available at these locations, at least on its initial release, are going to be more basic and similar to what we already have. Think attack and defend missions that we already have in bunkers, and cargo delivery missions like what we already have at outposts and major landing zones. Missions involving mining and the new salvage gameplay that we got last year will be something that come a bit later. I expect when we start getting the more underground facility portions of these distribution centers, like what we saw in the original concept art presented last year. With the new raid mission set not even planned to come in yet in 2024, which is a little bit sad to see. I thought this was something that they were going to leave for a later patch, but it looks like this is a bit more far off than we were led to believe a bit earlier. I'm excited for them because they're explained as being very endgame type content where you get together with your friends, loot these places for rare things, and then try to get out alive. I'm excited for this type of gameplay because these types of small group focused experiences really aren't something that is well catered for yet in the game, and I just want to see this become more like an MMO as we go forward. And on the gameplay side of things, we also aren't going to see these be able to be held by player corporations just yet. That's something that they are currently thinking about, and hopefully at some point in the future we'll get. I'm actually really excited for this type of gameplay because I want to see organization-focused stuff as well, where you have to work together with all your friends to try to take a facility and hold it maybe for some kind of resource, so I'll have to see where that goes. And we also found out that there are no current plans for abandoned or derelict centers, but it seems like this is something that they'll eventually do because they've done it for the space stations in Pyro. But we're not too far away from 323 going into the PTU, so I expect we can start actually seeing these things firsthand very soon. Now, the other bit of big news is that Todd Pappy, the live director for Star Citizen, has left after many years of working at CIG, and it's sad to see him go. We don't know any details about why he left, so everything you may have heard right now is just pure speculation, but leaving without ceremony is not a great indicator. I think there may have been some kind of disagreement. That's my guess. I don't have any inside information on this. But what it could mean for Star Citizen is that the base building stuff that he presented at Citizencon this year may be a bit more delayed, which is not too unexpected. That seemed very ambitious to get that done for this year, considering their pace of development, but we'll see. They're still organizing dev teams for this year, so there's really no telling right now whether or not this is going to be pushed back or put on the shelf for a while. Cue rampant speculation in the comment section. Citizencon has also been announced for this year. It's going to take place in Manchester on the 20th and 21st of October, which may indicate that they are indeed gearing up for a Squadron 42 release announcement, as I had assumed they would because, well, they talked about Squadron 42 for the first time in a long time at the last Citizencon, which probably indicated that they are very close to release. After all, they did say that they are feature complete and they are in the polishing phase. So this could spell great news for those of us who have been waiting many years for the single player campaign. I will definitely be going, so if you are going, let me know down below, and I hope to see you guys again this year at Citizencon. And finally, with the release of 3.22.1, which just happened this week, they started a new unexpected event involving capturing an Idris which has an interior. This is the Idris M variant, and if you capture it and record yourself doing it, you can submit your recording for a chance to win an Idris M with LTI. Now, this is one of the rarest ships in the game, certainly one of the most valuable. It's the military variant of the Idris capital ship with a size 10 coaxial railgun. I would love to own one of these. I currently don't have one, so I will personally be trying to participate in this weekend. So if you guys want to see that, head on over to my Twitch channel, which I'll be going live on. You'll be able to see the VOD, or you'll be able to see me live if I'm online trying it. It's going to be going, it looks like, until March 6th, and it's not going to be just developers piloting these things. They're also going to have NPC variants, so there should be a chance for a lot of people to at least try and participate in this. It's not going to be streamer focused, which a lot of people were worried about. I'll put a link in the description for the page so you can get some details on this event if you want to participate. It looks really cool. I'm not quite sure how it's all going to work though, given that, you know, trying to disable it without blowing it up is kind of difficult right now in the current version of the game. So I'm just gonna have to give this a try and see how it could be done. I know it's been done already. People are already posting images and videos on Twitter and YouTube showing how they've got inside it, so I hope to be one of those lucky people and to be able to record some footage for you guys to post on this channel a little bit later this week. So yeah, like and subscribe if you guys want to see that content, but that's it. I don't usually do these types of news videos, but it's been a bit of a slow start to the year for Star Citizen, so most of the exciting stuff isn't actually happening in the game just yet. So yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more, you know what to do. See you guys in the next one.